I can tell you, I really like the platform. I think it's a strong statement for conservatism, our New Hampshire State Republican platform. Now, anything can be improved. Certainly the platform can be improved and strengthened. I haven't heard any rumblings of any particular area where I'm hearing from people that they want the platform changed. In fact, it's just convincing people to read the platform and know what's in it is a challenge in and of itself. One of the pieces of literature I always hand out on the 4th of July at our celebration here in town, we always set up a booth for the Amherst Republicans, and I print out my Cliff Notes version of the Republican platform, and there's an even more condensed version that we have on a flyer that the previous Bedford chair put together, and it's just a listing of the values and the principles of the Republican Party. Here's our foundation. Here's what we're basing our party on. Here's what we promise to you to represent if you elect our candidates. And it's critical that we do that. We have to define what we stand for, what our principles are, what we will do once we get into office. And I think our current platform is a good reflection of that. Now, as you say, guaranteed, not every Republican is going to agree with everything in the platform. If you have a platform that nobody disagrees with any part of it, it probably doesn't say much. You're never going to get all Republicans to agree on all issues. So we need to start with that assumption going in. No two people agree on all issues. You're not going to get all Republicans to agree on all issues. What brings us together as a political party is because we have a common philosophy and a common approach to how we want government to interact with the citizenry. And we need to bring that to the table when we take a look at the platform. So, we'll have some proposals for platform changes are going to be introduced at this annual meeting. And I attended an executive committee meeting recently to introduce myself to members of the EC that I did not know previously and let them know that I'm running for this office. And so I listened to the discussion about the platform changes. There didn't seem to be anything radical in there. But again, between now and April 14th, we may hear about more suggested changes to the platform. But I think it's pretty strong right now. The major change that is going to be proposed in the bylaws is to do just that, is to fix something that many members of the executive committee and many people at the city and county level have identified as a problem, and there's going to be a proposed bylaw change to address it. What we need for our county and city committees are people elected to those committees who are going to be active, who are going to do the work that needs to be done, whether it be fundraising, organizing, communications. They're going to be active. They're going to show up to the meetings. They're going to participate. Every county and city committee, we run fundraisers. We have events. We need people to help, and the people that are elected to those committees are the ones that we're looking to step up and to participate. What we've seen in the past is that there are always a few people in some committees, it may be a large number, a large portion, who show up at the caucus. They are elected to the committee, and then they show up at the first annual meeting after the county and city caucus, which is the one that elects the chair, and then you never see them again. And so what's going to be introduced is a method by which it's going to be an option. It's not going to be mandated. It's not going to be automatically placed into the bylaws of every city and county committee. It's going to be put there as an option for each one of these committees to put together a mechanism whereby there could be a recall, if you will, of some of the elected members of the committee based on a set of criteria that committee determines, based on a methodology that committee determines, and then they would be replaced through an elective process with other members. We have people on deck who want to be elected to these committees. At our last Hillsborough County meeting, we elected 3 new members to the county committee. Now, these are 3 people who these are 3 openings created by people who either resigned or moved out of the county or moved out of the state, so they're disqualified from being members. And we had 8 people on the ballot for 3 spots. We've got 8 people, at least 8 people, who wanted to be elected members of the committee with the knowledge that we were looking for active members of that committee. Now, how many more openings could be created in Hillsborough County or in other county or city committees where we have activists waiting to be members, and we have people who are elected members of those committees who are not active, who you just, I'm not talking about you miss a meeting or two. That happens to everybody now and then. I'm talking about people who, not only do you not see them showing up at the meetings, you can't get a hold of them. They don't respond to calls, they don't respond to emails. It's like they disappear from the face of the earth. Now, they're taking up a spot that an engaged, active, interested Republican could be occupying. So there's going to be a proposed bylaw change to allow some sort of recall to take place. There's been a sea change in the way that we approach county and city committees over the last few years, and I think the disaster of 2006 and 2008 may have helped foster this change, and it's a very good change. And I can only speak for Hillsborough County because that's the county committee that I'm a member of. But when we had our slate of recommended members that was given to the caucus as recommendations, it was based on input from all of the town chairs around the county. Who are your most active Republicans that are interested in running for the county? What are your recommendations? And the nomination committee put their recommendations together, and it was based on, are you interested in being an active member of this committee? And if you are a currently elected member, they put together a stat sheet of how many meetings you had showed at. What's your percentage of showing up to meetings? And if you had a low percentage or a big goose egg next to your name, that was something that we had to take into account when they were putting together the recommended slate, and it was made available for the delegates who were voting on who the county committee members are going to be, for them to take into account. And I thought that was an excellent approach, because that's what we're looking for. No longer can we sit by and have county committees that meet the minimum number of times called for in the bylaws, that have the minimum number of members for a quorum to do the minimum. We can't do the minimum and get away with it. This is
not in New Hampshire.
Not in New Hampshire, not anymore. And what had happened, again, all of those years that I was down in Massachusetts, looking north for inspiration and seeing, happy Republicans, it was just taken for granted. In New Hampshire, you run as a Republican, you get elected. That is no longer the case. We cannot make that assumption. We have to go out and work for it. The Democrats went out year after year, election after election, and worked for it, and eventually they succeeded. We have to react to that. So we have to have active committees. We can't have towns that don't have committees, and we can't have county and city committees that are not active, because you're not going to you're not going to get the vote out. You're not going to recruit the candidates. You're not going to raise the money. We have to do all of those. So that's a bylaw change that'll be discussed at the annual meeting. I would be in favor of that option, and within our county committee, we've already discussed this as how we may implement it. We've tossed some ideas around, but that would have to be a bylaw change voted on by the membership. So it's not something that's being pushed down to the county level by the state committee. It's simply, here's an idea, and you can go ahead and put that in your bylaws if you so choose.
Cropped.